Welcome to a late IHP show with your 5D Mystic stories with me. So, me is Maria, and our title today, Spiritual Self-Agent has an empowered feminine masculine. Yes, because we are securely attached, non-traumatized. And that's an integrated brain. So I had a lot of fun today and yesterday, and you will have heard of that mindfulness stuff that I did in something that is about 2 hour video on Spotify, audio on the other podcast platforms, not on YouTube. So the Invincible Emotional Elite Squad, that's all the 5D collective. What we know is that love is always liberating and it is not ever entangling because we're securely attached, healthy, self-worth people. That's why we do know that we don't open our divine masculine's heart. We open our own heart, yes. And the divine masculine mind is my brain and my mind. And then I got a divine feminine and it's empowered. And then the masculine left alone is why we don't have any. I'm not impressed by those who are following people who look to objectify everything that basically codependent. Anyone who is needing Terry or Patrick Chan will be bothering themselves with thinking that they have the capacity to open a person's heart, by the way. That actually doesn't happen because, safety behaviors. So I can't force a person to be truly intelligent because I can't force them to know about their memory, implicit and explicit, and their deluded imagination. So, when they choose to be their going on with normal life part, that's the left brain. They're going to be pretty much the average day human being. When we get their traumatized part or basically their emotional part, that all depends. If we got structural dissociation taking place and child parts in the room, we know that we get to meet their 0-8-year-old. That's why they're not empowered, feminine, masculine. So a spiritual self-agent, what I wanted to share of stories. The elite tier of emotional invincibility, mystic, spiritual, mindful people, we hold the key to our golden egg as we have what it takes to achieve mental, emotional, and physical mastery. So I won't read all of it, but I'll read to you. We get to choose to do dharma, not karma, because we're tapped into that infinite higher human consciousness potential experience. And so you know that you don't activate, again, a counterpart's heart because they are the ones who activate their own self. From amoeba to elephant, all creatures nourish the ecology. Only, not all humans, though, said Guru. Only the humans who have half a brain are in destructive mode and they think they're brilliant while they are in fact being interviewed, or when they're just acting with structural dissociation. So their destructive mode, though, has an answer because abuse takes away power and boundaries take power back. But these are unhealthy boundaries. Thank you, Patrick Chan. It's called projection, and a person who does not care to notice that nobody attracts abusive people. It's that those who grew up without anyone being concerned or aware of their safety will have a very not healthy gut. And as Gabor Mate points out, the addiction, what pain is there that we are taking care of with whatever food, drinking, drugging, what is going on. Okay, so I understand why pseudo-intellectuals and limited consciousness people are out there. They're for the fearful brothers and sisters who will have grown up with this and who don't want to basically become healed. And as Patrick Tan again points out, a gifted healer will work from their experience, not a niche. So a securely attached person is what you have in front of you, and the mystic who's a spiritual agent who will also tell you, guess what? If you try to deal with shame in a more traditional psychotherapeutic way, it's re-injuring it. It's magnifying it, and that's because the shame is subdiaphragmatic. Thank you, Stephen Porges. So people who don't tend to their inner child, they tend to follow pseudo-intellectuals because the problem is when our defenses get too calcified, they take up too much bandwidth and they start to interfere with how we live our life. Mark Weisberg. So maladaptive patterns of behavior, there's a lot more to it. And again, love is going to be liberating only to those who want to love. So they want to become their true self. That's who's going to be at IHP, by the way, because self-help, personal development. And here's what an empowered feminine who's her own empowered masculine can tell you. Thanks, Sadhguru, for this. Once you experience Once your experience of being alive is profound, everything you do becomes profound. But also, the most precious thing is life itself. Will you realize this now or only on your deathbed now? I grew up with God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit. And while I'm pro-choice, I definitely appreciate the miracle of life that I've been gifted. And as a person who has mastered and continues to master the dance of life, again, a truly intelligent human mind is neither influenced by memory nor deluded by imagination, nor do we suffer. While the human beings who suffer their own memory and imagination, Sadhguru says they suffer that which does not exist. But no, they suffer that which exists, their first 3 years of life in the womb. And when they're not headed to a therapist, but they watch some pseudo-intellectuals, men, women, and theys, and they actually allow themselves to believe in them, well, again, it will be, as it always has been, just some people will choose Dharma and other people will choose karma. And my brothers and sisters who choose karma have decided that they don't want to heal trauma and that they want to continue hanging around the wrong people. And that's because unhealthy self-soothing mechanisms and unhealthy self-worth require Diego's family. And Diego's family is bountiful because everyone's consistent with what they think and feel. I, on the other hand, am a functional child adult, so I'm grounded in reality. Thank you, Sam Harris, which is why, as a mystic, I know that you don't have to believe in mysticism or faith, but as a person of true science, you will know that you don't know faith or God or spiritual, but that we can get along because I know science, because I love learning things, and that's what a genuine intellectual is. Curious, open, accepting, genuine, having a good time. Everybody can make sense themselves. The ones who are paranoid are not the ones who are making sense in a grounded in reality way. So we get to have harmony within our own selves, the empowered feminine. That's why we have an empowered masculine. And so when we know that seeing source in others does not actually bring cosmic karmic balancing, the 4D, 3D tends to bring forth stories of our oversoul, and they've been giving people a bunch of titles. So let me give you one story. As long as it takes you on my person. So that's where when I began, way back when, and the twin flame wasn't some saga and tragedy, it was actually something much more honorable than what today I've seen, because teenagers, they make it into, drama king and queen land versus actually honoring that which counterparts bring to each other, which is complementary everything, okay? And so with that being said, though, you don't objectify that which is your love life. And that's why the whole twin flame thing, they gave it a bunch of 1, 2, 3s, 4, 5, 6 stages. People actually are confused and curious and wonder, which immediately tells me you're not an empowered feminine, but I know where the flat earthers went to figure out that the earth is flat. So obviously you're an insecure human being who is looking for guidance outside yourself, which means you have poor gut and attachment wounds, to say the least, because I grew up with a very good gut, no attachment wounds, common sense, and I'm a mystic, the woo-woo pseudoscience, and I did not get lost or hooked on drugs, meaning drama. No, but I did learn from masculines how they don't give a shit what they bring to the table. That's including distorted feminines, because any insecure person will not be doing the self-aware, accountable, regulating stuff. They will be a hypocrite on a wheelhouse, and that's the part that's the most annoying. So with that, a self-agent, a spiritual one, actually masters how to walk a walk and talk a talk. I'm an Akashic record reader, and we know that any one of our empowered feminines can easily achieve this. As for the masculines, well, God keeps chiming in to remind me what not to do, and I will leave it out this time. But what I'm going to tell you is that when you know how to be yourself, it's because you know that your mind and your heart and your body and yourself are in alignment, but also that you are exactly who you're meant to be, and that if somebody loves you, they will want you just the way you are. That doesn't mean you don't live a healthy lifestyle. The way you are, the way you're meant to be, is open-hearted, spontaneous, happy, like a 3-year-old, like a 1-year-old, like a 5-year-old, like a 6, like a 7, like an 8. So when child parts are not happy, the people who have a chip on their shoulder and who thinks and think negative shit all the time, they're the ones who have an issue with love and entangling because they're hooked on drama and shared fantasy stages and all this other stuff. So the seeker, I'm a seeker, we know that we don't know everything, and in fact, truth imprints itself upon us because we're actually in our present and our prefrontal cortex, which is why I'm an intelligent mind. So I know biases, I know explicit, implicit. I also know not to pat people on the back, and when I have codependent people who are that sensitive, I also know how to allow myself to say, wow, I'm so sorry. What can I say? And I'm actually using even more facial expression than I typically will, because I've learned what sensitive egos do. They will tell you, it's not personal, Maria, it's not personal, it's not personal. But the minute it is personal, because I tested that out when I was a kid, you will notice how they say, you didn't hurt my feelings, you didn't hurt my feelings. And I'll say, yes, I did, I noticed it. No, you didn't, no, you didn't. The one time I did it. And then the other time I did this thing in a dream and I immediately apologized. So when you understand how we all have a child inside, and that is why, to me, it's very straightforward, and that's the 5D collective. So empowered feminines, we don't do, let's open up the hearts of our empowered masculines or masculines overall, and really you don't open up anybody's heart, by the way, and you don't get tested, and you don't begin to objectify people based on what? Somebody telling you a story. So if you're spiritual and you're self-agent, you don't actually have questions about the energetic imprint because you're part of Akash and Source. And God doesn't actually, you don't embody it unless you're thinking of the Greek and Roman gods. I mean, really. So divinity, those who use it that way, I do understand my brothers and sisters who use it that way. I don't. I use it that I'm Maria. I'm a channeler, downloader. So when I had a number of beautiful experiences, including Kundalini awakening, including being opened up to the cosmos, including my oversoul. Wow, the story I have. We'll do it at a campfire maybe one day. But even for me, every step of the way, as I found out more about my oversoul, I was like, this is fucking like a dream. Like, this is not, no, I won't use that word. I'll use, it's just amazing. So since I was a child, since the age of 8, I began to know my oversoul. And actually, even before that, 1, 2, so I know when I've been doing karma, and I know that I'm doing dharma officially, and then I can tell you all, though, how you find out about the karma that you carry, and then the karma that you choose to have. So this is the part of where it's not the subconscious of the 0-8-year-old, though. This is about other past lives and stuff like that. And that's where it gets fun. But enough about mystic woo-woo. What I wanted to conclude with is that spiritual self-agents, as empowered feminine and masculine, do know that the feminine gets the good end of the stick because we're connected to Source, Akash, and God, however you call it. So I don't get confused. I don't have self-doubt, the empowered feminine. I have not once been shaken on my foundation. I've been quite sturdy, and in fact, to the point of saying, I know who I am. I know that I can get emotional because I'm a woman, but I know what I speak, and I know what I think, and I know what I know, and I don't make assumptions. So when I say something, I know where I'm saying it from and what I'm trying to say and how I'm. So the minute that it gets used in a way that is not true, I will stand my ground, which is why there's no self-doubt for a person who's a functional child adult. There's it's an honor to be here today, and there you go, because the reality is you are not going to be engaging with that, which is a pretender anyways, and perfectionism is not something that exists. So the part about you mastering yourself, that's the fun part, and that's why you're not doing it from your gut, you're doing it from your heart and your mind, because you're not actually an insecure person. The capacity to be invincible emotionally comes with a nervous system. It's not just some random thing. So you treat your embodied brain like a muscle. But you don't give it a story. So what I can say is that being yourself is knowing in your mind, heart, and body that you are wanted just the way you are, to speak to yourself with neutrality and duality, because that's actually the right way so that you can process like an Egyptian that which comes up. And you can also know compassion, integrity, and awareness of the body with the emotional stuff that have things to tell you. So when it comes to masculines and feminines, we are either a pair because we are expanding and we're emotionally, mentally, and physically masters and available, or again, no matter what story they give you for the empowered feminine, we get to know immediately I'm mentally mastering, emotionally mastering. Wow, now I'm in my physical mastery. This is really awesome. I knew of these aspects, so I knew where I was in every one of my expansion moments and didn't need a guide. So when it comes to spiritual growth and personal development and that which mentorship, this is not because you don't know where you come from. This is because I have toolkits that support you to continue expanding. But what I'm trying to say is that you are with a sense of ease with your story, and you do already have that intuitiveness, because at the end of the day, your intuitiveness tells you anyways. But it's from the heart. So if you are navigating the 5D frequency, you love all equally, and you do know that when you're engaging and interacting with other, that's an opportunity to become more of that which you want to navigate as a frequency. And so the part of us all being able to be immature emotionally, we know that. I mean, I'm sure I would have plenty of moments that people could say, yeah, Maria, and I can say, yeah, and so what? So that's why we don't shame each other, because we're all Manny, Diego, Sid, we're all Pacha, we're all Cusco, the securely attached, non-traumatized person, not the ones who pretend to be securely attached and non-traumatized. It means you process the emotions and then you're able to talk about it, and we're always able to know that we're continuing to expand. So no story to tell you to cut people out of your life. No need to. There's no energy vampires, dark wars, but I'm a 5D mystic in the alignment soul age group. So when people have been in my space, it's been, get the fuck out of my space. What are you doing here? Oh my gosh, okay, really? Are you doing this again? Like, oh my gosh, you're starting to be like a fly on a wall. Can you fucking just make up your mind? What do you want to do? Because you're sounding like a whining whale right now. That's when you perceive people in your energy sphere, but they're not really working with their 0-8-year-old. Yes, that's the other part. So again, it's avoidant, ambivalent, disorganized, but we pick up on our brothers and sisters because that's what happens even to people like Dr. Daniel Siegel and somatic therapists, because they know all about our dream state and the field of consciousness and intelligence and how we're tapped into it. No time, no space, a lot of fancy ways to just say, basically, when I have nightmares, I know who I'm dreaming of. It's not my stuff, but I won't be reaching out, thanks to the masculines that showed me how they just keep hitting rock bottom and do nothing about it. And then when you ask them how they're doing, they think that you're trying to curse them. Yeah, that's not funny at all, but it does make sense, because when you're distortion, unfortunately. Yeah, so when people are not their true self, they get to be Cusco. And so you just learn how to handle the mood swings. It's like Jekyll and Hyde, but it's not really, because it's a human being, and you know, wow, I feel so sorry that they were not actually going to get themselves to a therapist. So, hey, you know, I was thinking that today you remembered what you told me last time, and now I can actually continue talking to you about the one thing that we were talking about. But the next time I see you, I don't know if you'll still remember it. So I think that maybe we should spend a couple hours talking about it right now. That way I can have the fulfilling moment of interacting with you. This is the sad part, people, is that people don't actually remember things. It's not funny. So I get when the therapists say drama king and queen, that's not respectful, but they're talking about people who are wanting to heal. I'm letting you know there's a bunch of people, they're not assholes. They don't want to go and get themselves to a therapist. That's it. So I love my brothers and sisters, because they're not Lucifers, they're not demons, they're poor human beings who began their first 3 years of life. And by the way, once you've reiterated your boundaries in a certain amount of ways and times with all of these people that are basically beautifully facades, they will learn, and then you will have a good time, like Manny, Diego, and Sid. Plus I can be just as annoying as can be. That's the part of what self-acceptance means, and what it means to be yourself, and why you can laugh about yourself. I have flaws, I have imperfections. I'm pretty sure I've probably treated people in ways that they're like, she's a mean fucking bitch, I don't like her. And I'll be like, I didn't do it on purpose. My gosh, I know how to cry and just wipe it away and not pretend it didn't hurt my feelings. But you didn't hurt my feelings. It's my heart, not your heart. It's my body, not your body. You got it? I can regulate my nervous system. I'm Maria. So you can all ask my mother about me spiting her. I told her, I don't spite you, Mom. I just remember still a lot. So at the end of the day, empowered feminines, again, it's an embodied brain. And so you have your empowered masculine, and then you have the honor, obviously, of also having counterparts, which is really fun. I love counterparts. So we will always love our brothers and sisters because love and fear coexist, and that's because actually they're the why, they're the reason that we get to have free will. Let me read to you. Let me count the ways that I love, the smiles you bring to my heart, the silence you fill with awe and splendor, the essence of life and love that you are. The magic that the mere expression of you holds, the embodiment of the infinite and unknown splendors of life that you bring to me each day. I love thee for that which our fusion creates. It is love and life in form, completely conscious of being and awakened in every breath, thought, and action we take, both together and apart. Let me count the ways I love thee, in knowing that together we bring to life that which is deemed impossible to be experienced by a mortal being. The experience of love and life in its utmost, unlimited and infinite expression and potential. The simplest of things can brighten up the day, and our ability to love unconditionally with flaws and imperfections allows for every moment of life to be full of gratitude, bliss, abundance, and ever-expanding love. When you can see how your life is the most amazing love affair alongside all your loved ones and humanity, you will know I am life. I'm love, I'm infinite, higher human potential, I'm expanding consciousness. And I actually inverted that one, but it's something that you will have seen most likely in our descriptions on YouTube. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed. Again, we have an optimized system that goes from chaos to homeostasis, and as you get familiar with your ventral vagal state and your prefrontal cortex and being yourself, it will be, as it always has been, just with Dharma, not with karma, for those of us who are securely attached, non-traumatized, and doing the resiliency in our restorative embodiment. Yes, integration brain, yes. High five, high five. And so we'll be back with more. Have a good one.